Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to be here today to talk about a topic many of us can relate to. Today's presentation is called The Power of the Pause, When to Take a Break from Dating. We'll explore how sometimes stepping back from dating isn't a sign of failure, but a vital form of self-care. Over the next few minutes, we'll look at when it's okay to pause, why it can be beneficial, and how it can actually help you find the right person in the long run. So let's get started. When it comes to dating, Courtney Ryan reminds us that it should be a meaningful and enjoyable experience, not something we do out of obligation. Unfortunately, many people keep pushing themselves to date even when their emotional and mental health are telling them to stop. Recognizing when to pause is crucial because it not only protects our well-being, but also helps us build healthier, more fulfilling connections in the long run. Today, we'll explore 6 key signs that it might be time to take a break from dating. We'll also look at the psychological reasons behind these signs, so you can better understand what your mind and body are telling you. One of the first signs is mental clarity. When your thoughts become cloudy or overwhelmed, it's often a signal that you need to step back and regain some mental space. Another important sign is emotional availability. If you're feeling emotionally drained or disconnected, it's hard to form genuine connections, so giving yourself a break can help you recharge. And of course, protecting your overall well-being is essential. If dating begins to feel more like a burden than a pleasure, that's a clear sign you need to pause and focus on yourself for a bit. Remember, taking a break isn't a setback. It's a smart, self-aware move that sets the stage for healthier relationships down the line. When your life feels unstable or overwhelming, it can really take a toll on your ability to date intentionally. Dating requires mental clarity and emotional availability, so if you're going through major life changes like moving to a new city, starting a demanding job, recovering from a breakup, or handling personal challenges, your energy is already stretched pretty thin. In those moments, dating can shift from something joyful to more of an obligation. You might find yourself canceling plans, zoning out during conversations, or even ignoring red flags. That's often because you just don't have the bandwidth to deal with everything at once. Psychologically, when things feel unstable, it becomes harder to set and maintain healthy boundaries. Instead of making thoughtful, deliberate choices, you might fall into people-pleasing or avoidance. And that's okay. Pressing pause here isn't a sign of failure. It's actually a sign of self-awareness. By taking the time to stabilize your life first, you're creating a solid foundation. And that foundation is what allows for authentic, meaningful connection when you're truly ready to engage. Let's talk about sign 2. You're dating out of loneliness or validation. Human beings are naturally wired for connection, right? But when the main reason we're dating is because we're afraid of being alone, that's when problems start to pop up. Often, we might be filling a void, maybe feeling insecure or unfulfilled, and we settle for partners who aren't quite right for us. We might tolerate poor treatment or stay in relationships that leave us feeling empty, even if we're physically with someone. This behavior is frequently rooted in external validation, things like needing matches, text responses, or compliments to feel good about ourselves. The problem is, external validation is fleeting. It's temporary and unreliable. When it's gone, we can feel even emptier than before. So, what's a healthier approach? It's cultivating our intrinsic self-worth. This means learning to enjoy our own company, investing in personal growth, and pursuing passions that make us feel alive. When we do this, dating becomes about sharing our wholeness, not trying to patch over loneliness or fill an internal void. It's about connecting from a place of completeness, not deficiency. When I look at this slide, what really stands out is the idea that if your dating life feels like déjà vu, you might be stuck in a cycle. Maybe you're noticing a pattern where you keep attracting the same type of partner, experiencing similar red flags, or going through the same heartbreak over and over again. That's a big clue that you're caught in these unhealthy patterns. These patterns often come from unresolved childhood experiences or deeply ingrained beliefs about love, things we may not even realize are influencing us. For example, you might find yourself drawn to emotionally unavailable people, or rushing into intense relationships only to burn out quickly. Sometimes, We stay in unsatisfying relationships, hoping that things will change, even when they're clearly not working. Without awareness of these patterns, they tend to repeat endlessly, trapping us in a cycle that feels hard to break. That's where taking a break becomes so valuable. It's not just about stopping, it's about creating space for reflection, self-examination, and healing. This pause allows us to recognize our triggers, understand why we're drawn to certain types of partners, and gain clarity about what we truly want. When we re-enter the dating scene after this reflection, we're better equipped to choose partners who align with our values and goals, rather than being driven by past wounds. So, the key takeaway here is that awareness and taking intentional breaks are powerful tools for breaking free from these repeating patterns and creating healthier, more fulfilling relationships. When we talk about sign 4, it's all about how dating can sometimes start to feel like a chore or even lead to burnout. Ideally, dating should be a fun experience filled with curiosity, playfulness, and a sense of possibility. It's about exploring connections and enjoying the process. But when it begins to feel like a job, endless swiping, going through the motions of small talk, or attending dates just to check a box, that's a clear sign you might be experiencing burnout. Burnout really changes your outlook. It breeds cynicism and makes you impatient, critical, and less open to genuine connection. You might find yourself saying yes to dates or situations you don't really want, losing sight of your own standards, or dismissing potential matches too quickly out of frustration. So, what's the solution? It's simple but powerful. Step back, reset your energy, and realign with your original intentions. Taking a break helps you reconnect with why dating can be enjoyable and meaningful. It's about rediscovering the fun and the purpose behind the process, so you can approach it with fresh eyes and a renewed sense of optimism. So, when you see sign 5, you're struggling with mental or emotional health, it's a really important indicator. Anxiety, depression, and emotional exhaustion can make dating feel just unbearable at times. And what's tricky is that many people unconsciously expect their partner to fix these issues, which is, of course, unrealistic. That kind of pressure can really strain the relationship and often leads to disappointment for both people. Sometimes, dating becomes a distraction from deeper issues, things like unhappiness at work, tension within the family, or just a lack of purpose in life. If you find yourself chasing dates but still feeling empty inside, that's a clear signal to turn inward and reflect. Now, the key here is to focus on building a solid foundation for your mental health outside of dating. That's where therapy, lifestyle changes, and self-care practices come in. Whether it's exercising, practicing mindfulness, or seeking professional help, these are more effective ways to support yourself than relying solely on a romantic relationship to heal what's going on inside. Remember, taking care of your mental and emotional health is essential, not just for healthy relationships, but for your overall well-being. So, on this slide, we're talking about a really common sign that might be holding us back in relationships, carrying bitterness or unresolved pain. When we haven't fully processed past heartbreaks or resentment, it can quietly sabotage our new connections. You might not even realize it, but bitterness can show up as mistrust, cynicism, or emotional walls that keep us from truly opening up. Sometimes, we unconsciously push people away or judge new partners through the lens of old wounds, which isn't fair to either of us. It's important to remember that healing takes time, and it's definitely not a straight line. Giving yourself space to grieve, forgive, and let go helps clear out that emotional clutter. And when you do that, you open up space for genuine connection, bringing openness and hope into future relationships, rather than baggage and fear. Ultimately, recognizing this sign is a step toward healthier, more fulfilling relationships, because it allows us to approach new connections with a clean slate. Let's talk about the power of pausing. Taking a break from dating isn't about giving up. It's actually a deliberate act of strength. Think of it like muscles. They need rest days to recover and grow. Similarly, your emotional life needs these pauses to process what you've experienced, reset your mindset, and rebuild your confidence. When you do this, you'll find yourself more grounded, more self-aware, and truly ready to connect when the time is right. This kind of break helps you avoid chasing validation or falling into old cycles. Instead, you come back to dating from a place of abundance and wholeness. And that makes all the difference because it allows genuine connection to happen naturally, without the noise of desperation or fear. So remember, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause, because it prepares you for healthier, more meaningful relationships ahead. When we talk about preparing for healthy, lasting relationships, it's important to understand that taking a pause isn't about avoiding dating altogether. Instead, it's about giving yourself the time and space to focus on key areas like stability, healing, and self-respect. These aren't just nice-to-haves. They're essential foundations that help us build relationships that are truly healthy and sustainable over the long term. By stepping back for a bit, you're not stepping away from love. You're setting yourself up to be in a better place emotionally and mentally. This process allows you to work through any past wounds, solidify your sense of self, and reestablish what you really want from a partnership. The most important takeaway here is that taking a break from dating is actually a form of self-care. It may seem counterintuitive, but by prioritizing your well-being now, you're creating the conditions for more meaningful and fulfilling connections later. Ultimately, this approach aligns perfectly with the idea that healthy relationships start from a healthy, whole you.